Hello!
Hello, everybody.
Hopefully we didn't cock that up too much. Sorry about that. I'm not sure why we ended up with two streams going and everybody went in the wrong place and everything. Apologies, but we're here now. Hello everyone.
I'm
How is
going to blame
everybody?
Pete because it was nothing to do with me
How
because
dare you?
I know nothing about how this works.
It can't be
Can't
me.
be
I'm an idiot.
Pete. I wouldn't quite go that far, Pete. But, thank you.
But thanks for the vote of confidence there. So we've got a lot of the usual faces on tonight. VJ, one of the first to post tonight. Hello VJ. Andrew, Mr. Marlowe, Jason, Rob, Dead Hands, Dave Christie, some twat called Robin, Dead Hands again, Circus
Every
of Pain,
week.
Edward, Milky, Matt. Hello, everybody. That was nearly a professional start. Well, what you didn't see, Matt, was the fact that we started the first time, said hello, and then I realised I hadn't hit go live. So we started all over again.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know whether it's just me, but I can't see anything.
Just so you're aware, I can't see anything going on.
At least it wasn't that when we had Cal on and we talked for about 5 minutes before
Oh,
we were.
and all those
So,
things he told us about that they're doing, all the war
I
bands that
know,
bring
no,
out.
I didn't think you could do that.
No, I mean,
Oh, no, sorry, that was a different chat. Uh,
I just can't even get the angles right in my head. It's just amazing. But so hello everybody. Hello from Australia. Good morning Australia. Good evening UK. Good night Vietnam. No, I don't know.
Vienna.
Good night Vienna.
Vienna.
Yeah, I should have gone with that one.
Oh,
How?
Hamburg says hello. Hello, Hamburg.
Hello Hamburg. Megaloz
Hamburg
is
came.
online as well. I'm loving the fact that we've got Matt and Megaloz online. Are you guys
Excellent.
just sitting next to each other
Both of them.
on your own computers, like my parents used to, in different sides of the sofa on the sofa,
Covering the keyboard with
with
one
that?
hand so they can type whenever you see what they.
Which always reminds me of that rubbish episode of that American Cop show where
Oh, well, they're both
one
typing.
person's hacking, so the other person decides to help by using the other half of the same keyboard to hack on. That's not how it works. But anyway, that's enough about rubbish TV. So we're going to get cracking again with another evening's light entertainment for you, and we're going to start with a community shout out. And Robin had somebody he wanted to give special mention to.
Well, I missed them last week when we were talking about things that we like to read and watch, and that is the Gits No Glory blog, which is possibly my favourite blog of all of the Warhammer Underworld blogs that are out there because he's the guy who writes it, whose name escapes me. He only plays Gits, but he's a really interesting guy. I think he might be I can't remember now, he's a psychiatrist or something like that, and he's got a really interesting take on things. And I love his commentary, and I think it's really great. If you haven't checked out this week's post, which I think we'll be referring to quite a lot, then do so after the chat, because this week is kind of about competitive play and how not to do it or how to make it better for yourself, kind of thing. So, and he also wrote one about dice and why you shouldn't blame your
Yeah,
dice.
well, you shouldn't punish your dice.
Yeah. So yeah, he's really good. So no gets no glory. That's our community shout out this week.
The thing I like about the no gets no glory thing is it's not necessarily about the hard and fast stats and things like that. It just has a very, I mean, it's fairly obvious the kind of stuff that he writes about and things like that. But at the same time, it sometimes it needs to be said, and you sort of sit and you read it and you think he's got a really good point here. And the one he's just done, which is about like self sabotaging and why you
Mm.
go to a tournament and getting clear in your mind what you want to achieve, was just a really great article to read.
Yeah, he's obviously got a psychology background or something like that because it's kind of that the dice one and this one are kind of almost about the psychology of gaming and like the whole kidding yourself into taking worse warbands so that you can sort of say, oh well, I couldn't have won anyway because I had I took Iron Skulls and I only bought two models. So that kind of it was interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely something that he highlights in it as well, where he says about you don't want to. Being angry is fine. If you lose and you're angry, that's okay. And especially in what is quite a male-dominated game and genre and sort of community, it's important that we talk about those things because quite often us
Yeah.
blokes we have a tendency to not talk about those things and sort of say it's fine, it hasn't annoyed me or anything like that, when really it has really really annoyed you. So it's a good thing it's good to talk, just like Bob Hoskins used to say. But obviously, yeah, so definitely do go check out his articles, they are brilliant.
Yes, yeah, and he was sort of the thing was saying it's all right to be cross. There's nothing wrong with feelings. It's how you enact on those feelings. So it's all right to be cross about or upset that you haven't won, but it's not okay to call your opponent a cheat or blame his dice or blame it's kind of, you've got to.
I didn't know you can go and punch someone when you're angry.
To smash his head onto the table.
This is all brand new information for me, which frankly I could have done with before that last restraining order. So
that kind of stuff, which I think we all know, but sometimes we lose sight of. Not that I've ever hit anybody over a game. I've occasionally called Pete a few rude things. But one interesting thing was that I don't know whether it would work or not. It might do, but we were saying as an opponent, you should possibly say that actually that was pretty tough. Do you need to take a break? Because I think sometimes people would rather just kind of step away from the table a little bit. And somebody did say on one of the live chats that they took a walk, or maybe it was a podcast I was listening to, said they took a walk away from the table because it was getting stressful. And I can't imagine doing that actually, because it would be even worse, because I would know the clock was ticking, and that would be even more stressful.
That's true. I guess it's that kind of thing where, that would be a really hard situation to be in. But I guess sometimes if you're in a really bad place, it's not that bad to just say to your opponent, you know what, you've just won both games, and I need to go outside and take a walk and have a bit of a breather and that kind of thing. And if I can get back in time, we can play a second game.
Not off the balcony at walk. No.
Yeah, don't take a walk out of Bugman's and just pitch over top, because it's probably not going to do much. The people just run out there, you'll be like the floor going, that really hurt, but I think I'm all right. I feel a bit stupid.
Spread eagle across the rhino.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those things that we could all at points do with when, and Lord knows I've cut enough stuff out of our videos when either of us have had a terrible dice streak where you just want to, I mean we swear like God knows what, but it all gets cut out and it looks like we're just going, oh, those dice. Oh.
Yeah, I called you a very rude word at the end of our last game.
Did.
I said, sorry, we're going to have to do that again.
I had to look it up. I didn't even know what it was.
Just because you've never seen one.
Yeah, well. Loz says she finds heavily drinking helps, seeing she loses every game she ever plays. Haven't you beaten Matt recently? I thought you beat Matt recently in some games, and Matt was coming online complaining about the fact that he always loses. I think we're getting half the story. Dave was just telling me, says, honestly, I love when you start rimming each other when you play. That's the best banter I had. I imagine being a tournament, it's hard to fit the fun back. That's one thing that both Robin and I are not such great fans of in the tournament scene, is that it's so stressful and high pressure. And I mean, okay, it's not life and death, but you've got to get in there, you've got your games done, you've got to get it all in the timing. So you want to try and win, because that's mostly why you're there. You want to do well and win some games. Which is why when we have our little agent con, it's going to be a much more sedate affair.
Nice little segue there.
Shwim.
Yeah.
So we'll provide some more details as the podcast, not podcast, but as this broadcast continues, we'll give you some more details about that one.
Yes, so yeah, we will be doing Agent Con in September. So do come along, and the idea of that is that we do want it to be more friendly.
Yes,
don't we? So we want people to have a laugh with each other. And I think people do have a laugh at Grand Clashes, to be fair. But there is all that kind of stress of you've got to get through your games, and and if you're, I mean, I've never been in a situation where I've ever won. I have never won my first game, so I don't know what it's like to not want to lose.
Stress.
Although if you lose too much, it starts to get stressful at the other end.
Yeah.
But we kind of want to make it fun, so there will be. I'm going to say we will put more details out nearer the time, but I think it's probably going to be a few rounds of best of one with extra time to have a chat with your opponent, and we'll probably have some silly prizes.
There'll be prizes for
things.
People who've taken the least meta deck, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And if you have any ideas of things you'd like to see, or things that are keeping you away from a tournament, that therefore you don't want to see, then let us know, because there is time for us to kind of tailor it to how we want to run it. Basically, we're going to be running it from sort of 10 till 5 on the day, I think, and we can fill that time with however we want, however you guys want, up to a point. At some point, we'll have to make a decision what we're going to do.
And we'll at some point we'll have to have a winner of the whole thing. Whoever's won the most games or got the most points. But there's going to be other prizes as well. So there's going to be lots of stuff in there for to cover a plethora of things. Obviously, we won't be playing on the day, I don't think, because we'll be running around screaming and vomiting in terror trying to organise everything. But can there be a Connect 4 event? I don't see why not, Matt. If you bring a Connect 4, you can sit up on a table.
Yeah.
Hardcore rules only. Obviously, is that like you can only hit people with chairs?
I've never played Hardcore Connect 4.
I played
Sounds
Hardcore
good.
Twister, but that was a different thing. Red is clearly OP. Yellow needs to be buffed, and red needs to be nerfed. That always reminds me of the
Bloody
little.
boy managed to score seize the initiative twice in over best of three yesterday. No one saw it coming. That's impressive.
Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah. Um, David also says that 3 games 9 minutes can be rough since you can also get blown out in 2 games. You might end up playing 2 games just waiting for Thomas. You see, I didn't mind that when I played a game against the Italian team. I cannot remember the gentleman's name, but hopefully he's watching. Hello. He's absolutely annihilated me in the second game in like 20 minutes flat. So I had like 40 minutes to sit in Bugman's bar on my own, and it was actually it actually helped. I got to go and sit down for a while and just sort of get some composure back, and sob a little bit in the gents, and then come out and have a drink, and it was all fine.
Yeah, I don't mind losing quickly in 2 games. It's like you say, it's when it is, but it's when you feel like, well, especially if you think you might win the second game and you have to play a third game.
Yeah.
You kind of then it's like, oh, I've got to keep going. I've got to keep going. I think I need to slow down a little bit actually, and then maybe I'd win some games 2-0, and then maybe I wouldn't want to.
Yeah,
Wouldn't matter, take it a little bit longer.
yeah. I mean, I did end up my fourth game at the Grand Clash was all 3 games, and that was near the end. In the third game, that was manic. It was almost like when you watch the Grandmasters at chess. It was just like move thing, play a card, move thing, play a card, move thing, roll some dice, move thing, roll some dice. It was just near the end there, but it was good fun as well. Luckily, my opponent was top, so it was a great time. But yeah.
Circus of Paint has said it might be worth having a prize for the highest scoring Shadespire Warband to encourage some of the older ones. That's a good idea.
Yep.
Yeah, we want to encourage bringing of off meta and older Shadespire stuff.
I think we might have to implement some kind of reward system if you don't have the 3 restricted slots filled. Maybe we could bring back faction fractions.
Maybe
The people who have the most faction specific cards in their hand get a reward of some kind.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yep. So let's crash over some questions then.
Yes,
What questions have we got this evening? So, several people have asked me about my rundown of my tournament that I went to at the weekend. So I'll give a very quick rundown of that because it wasn't particularly spectacular, but it was good fun. One of our patroners, Martin, was there. Hopefully he had a good time as well. I did actually get to play him as my first game as well. It seems to be a pattern for me. Played 5 games. They're all best of 1 games, and every person I played, as I've always found in these things, every person I played was tops, and was a great atmosphere. It was a good time, and I won 3 out of my 5 games. One of those was due to a draw. It was like 3 glory each, and I was standing on an objective. And the guy I was playing against was quite unfortunate with some of his dice as well. So the main issue I had with it is I was playing against, I think, at least 2 or possibly 3 people who didn't really have access to all the cards. And it really felt like not an even playing field to me. I felt almost like I was unfair that I had access to all the cards because I played a guy who had Wormspat and I beat him. And it was mostly because he only had, I think, like the Wormspat cards. I don't even know if he had the base game at that point.
Wow. Okay.
So he didn't have very many options available to him. So he couldn't make...
Even that guy who takes 2 Iron Skulls could beat Wormspat cards only.
Yes, yeah. So he did...
Martin's in the chat, by the way, because Martin was there, wasn't he?
Oh, yes, he is. He did a... Yeah, I played Martin first and he had atrocious dice. Worse than I've ever seen. And that was how I managed to beat him.
Wow, that's saying something, because we've seen some pretty terrible dice from you over the years.
They were some of the worst dice I've ever seen. And I had awesome dice in that. I had the card at one point where you had to take a damage from getting... I can't remember what it's called. Flashback or whatever it is. You know, the 1 damage from rolling 2 crits. And I managed to score that, and I had Overpower, whatever it is, in my hand as well, and I had something else, so I managed to score like 4 glory from rolling a double crit, and it was kind of... What could you do at that point? You're going to win when the dice are like that for you.
Valentine says Backlash.
Backlash, that's the one.
Backlash, yeah.
So I overall, whilst I enjoyed the evening, it was great fun. I do wonder about how you can handle tournaments where not everybody's going to have all the cards, because I did feel quite unfair that I was playing and some of my opponents didn't have all the cards.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? It's kind of Games Workshop. We've talked about this before, but Games Workshop will build this as the ultimate competitive game. But the way to be ultimately competitive is to have everything. You know, you've pretty much got to own all the cards. Not quite now, I reckon, but you've pretty much got to own all the cards to be ultimately competitive.
Yeah.
And so, where does that leave those who want to play, want to join in the tournaments, but don't have everything? It's quite a difficult. It's a difficult one. I don't know.
Yeah, that is another question.
It's not Games Workshop's interest to do anything about it because they want you to buy everything.
Yeah, they want you to have all the cards because you've got to buy all the warbands to get all the cards and so on. And when you're playing casually, you can print out the cards and stick them in the sleeve with the card that you're never going to use, and you can do that. But yeah, the minute you get to a tournament, people aren't going to let you do that for the most part.
No.
So what do you do?
No.
And it's one of those things that, as Martin also asked the question, what could be done to make local tournaments more competitive for players that don't have everything? I'm not sure, whilst I'd like to be able to do that, I'm not sure it's really that possible, and I don't think... I think it's trying to fit two very different things together. A tournament's about being competitive, and to be competitive you have to have access to all the cards, and to make a game balanced across everybody who doesn't have all the cards. That's more of a casual league thing rather than a competitive league or casual tournament versus a competitive tournament. So yeah,
you've either got to restrict it and say you can only bring cards from 6 boxes, say.
Well, yeah, that won't be too bad.
Just Beastgrave, and then that newer players who are only just getting into it, they might be really into it, and they bought Beastgrave, and they're not missing out too much if they haven't got all the other boxes. If you forget Nightvolt, that'd be one way.
Yeah. Valentin Hornick has said in September Season 4 might be out and Season 2 might be banned. Well, the ploys, the power cards will almost definitely be banned. So yeah, we could be finding it a very different game come then.
Well, when it was supposed it would be like when Beastgrave first came out, and you couldn't play any Shadespire cards anymore. More faction cards, Matt suggested that's another way of doing it. But of course, if you have faction only, I think we already know in Beastgrave there's some very definite winners.
Grimwatch.
And everybody would just bring everybody who was wanted to win at least would just bring Grimwatch.
Yeah, and as he points out later on, Frogspawn is also illegal out of the box if you play championship format. So what could you do there as well?
True.
I like the idea maybe of saying you can only have from 4 different boxes maybe, or something like that. That's not quite so bad. But as Dave has also pointed out, whilst you do need all the cards to be competitive, it's probably the cheapest entry level sort of game, fully maxed out, that you can get from Games Workshop at the minute, which is true.
Absolutely, it absolutely is. I suppose the problem is it's not so much it's just a enjoyment of experience, isn't it? If you're playing with people like, I mean, how many people turned up to your tournament? 8 maybe this weekend, Pete?
I think it was 8, yeah.
8. So if only half of those people have got like 1 box and maybe a couple of warbands, then that means that they're not going to have a good time against the people who've got everything. And similarly, some of the people who've got everything aren't going to have a good time against them, because like you said, you felt bad.
Yeah.
That because you just couldn't really not lose. So it's
I still managed
you've only got a very small pool to draw from. I don't really know how you can fix it.
Yes, it's a tricky one. I guess you're trying to mix water with oil here. You've got 2 very different things that you're trying to make work together, and sometimes I guess you're just going to have to say, you know what, this is going to be a competitive tournament and it's open to all people, and by all means come along. And we see people at the Grand Clash, we know that the community is a very good community, so it probably doesn't matter too much, and then maybe try and work on other more starter friendly things. And speaking of that one,
well, I think that's what they'll have to do.
Yes,
because you've also got this added thing of some of the tournaments carry the codes for getting to the LVO, not the LVO, whatever it is, the Grandmasters, haven't they?
Yeah.
So you want those obviously have got to be as competitive as possible. But yeah.
There are a few comments in there. Dave Wu said Magic Warbands will lose a lot when Nightvolt rotates out, will maybe allow the older, less successful Warbands more restricted slots. I think if you could do something like making the worst Warbands have more restricted slots, that'd be good, but that's a whole nother meta balancing act in its own, which I think would be almost impossible to do.
Too much bookkeeping for everybody as well. tournament organisers and stuff.
Musa asks, would you say whatever warband you want and the latest box set, i.e. Beastgrave, would be the way to go purchase-wise? It's definitely the best way to start.
It's the best way to start.
Yeah.
The Beastgrave box and Grimwatch. No, whichever warband you want is the way to start. And if you enjoy it and you enjoy playing it, then you can add things as you go. It really depends on where you want to play and who you want to play with and how competitive you want to be, what you need to buy. Because although I wouldn't necessarily endorse it, there isn't any way, there's nothing stopping you if you're playing casually, as Peter has already said, just printing out the cards you want to play with and just seeing whether it works and then buying them later if you want to play competitively.
Yeah. Jason posted a thing about they play faction requirements. At least 4 objectives must be faction based, and roughly a third of ploys and upgrades faction based. We used to do that with our faction fraction.
We did before restricted list back in the day, and then we found the restricted list kind of restricted things enough to make it okay. But maybe we should go back to that. I don't know.
I do feel that if you do that, people like Grimwatch are still going to be laughing. And other people, they're still going to, because they have so many good faction-based cards, they'll be like, oh, I've got to pick 4 of them. Okay, that's really not a problem for me. But maybe it would just put enough in there that it would stop them being able to take all the really obvious, easier ones.
Yeah. Circles of Paint said he would like it if the weaker Shadespire and Nightbolt got updated fighter and faction cards, but I doubt it will happen. We've talked about this before, but we're pretty sure it's not going to happen. John Bracken pretty much said it's not going to happen. All they're likely to do is bring out a new version. So you might get a new Khorne warband in Season 4 that's Uber Reavers. Maybe. I don't know. I can't see. I don't think they're going to go back. There's no mileage to going back because you've already bought those. And okay, you might buy these new little ones, but you buy a whole new box as well. So
yeah, you're just as likely to buy a new warband. And we know that they always base their stuff on the models first, so they're always going to be working off a set of models. It's always going to be their drive, and the old ones already have models, and they're not going to bother spending time on that kind of thing. So that does fit into a question that was asked, which was asked by Crit Def Matt, which is warband rotation inevitable? We have 26 warbands at the end of this season. Are there too many to maintain going forward in the future? If so, how many seasons should be kept in Championship, i.e. keep the latest 2 or the latest 3 or whatever? I think we're probably on the same page here in that neither of us think that they're going to ever rotate out warbands.
I don't think so, because there's, again, it's almost self-limiting. Like already, people take almost no Shadespire warbands. Because they're not as good. Yeah. So they kind of, if you assume there's always going to be scope creep, then they don't ever need to restrict them because people will just gradually stop taking. There'll always be one nutter like Raphael up here who's taking chosen actors this week to a competition, and fair play to them. And people like Timothy who do amazingly well with the Aurochs.
With the Aurochs. And there's the current Loot and Scoot Skaven deck doing the rounds online.
Yeah. So I just feel like there isn't any need to restrict them, because then you'll start to potentially upset people, because there's people I only ever want to play Reavers and now you've taken them away from me.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any problem with that.
Yeah.
Because they're not so good. I mean, you could argue that maybe the Curse Breakers could do with restricting, but I just don't think they'll ever do it.
I mean, Matt Collins has said Shadespire warbands have already been rotated out, and Dave Christie says they're not on sale anymore as well. They have kind of rotated them out in that respect, but if you have them, you can still use them, and that's another reason why I don't think that GW are ever going to rotate them out officially, because as time goes on, people just aren't going to have them as much anymore.
No.
I mean, you'll have your diehards who will be out there with the Skaven or their Aurochs or whatever, and there'll always be a few, but I don't think GW spend very much time trying to balance against older warbands.
No. I love the idea that suddenly they might release a whole slew of cards that suddenly make the Aurochs, or probably more like the Reavers or the Skaven, like really relevant again. I think that would be really, I like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, the Skaven one, this Loot and Scoop deck, based on that idea that grabbing objectives is better than trying to be offensive in any way. It sounds like it could be quite an interesting challenge to a lot of other warbands. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes, really. Somebody mentioned in there that I've lost it now. No, I've lost it. I can't find the comment. I'll have to come back to it if I find it again. Anyway, let's move on to another question. There were
what Matt said up here. There was one comment I didn't understand. He said Grimwatch only takes shades bar cards moving forward, and then he says the shades bar cards are still banned.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's pretty much the only way they could ever stop Grimwatch being top overpowered tier as it is. Matt says, "See old Marines." I presume you mean, Matt, that they're sort of fading out the old Space Marines because they brought in Primaris, but they're not actually stopping the sale of Space Marines because they know that would be cutting their nose off, kind of thing. I presume that's what you mean.
Yeah, well, so they're not. They're nobody wants to win takes them, but you still can.
Yeah. And Dave Christie asked the question, can a game be competitive if some parts of it are not accessible to all players? Well, that's a good question, but I don't think GW care, if I'm honest.
No, I guess they are to an extent. All. I guess you can't now buy, if you come into the game now, you can't buy the old Warband. So
unless you go on eBay or something like that, or find them in a shop or something.
I think as long as you don't make the old ones better, then it's okay.
Yeah, and I think that
which is what Valentin just said as well. So there we go.
Yeah, carry the new Warband's better. That is true. Also, I think this is a historic thing with GW. It's always been a sort of a pay-to-win game. If Skaven became the new unbeatable thing, it'd be a case of, well, anybody who's fortunate enough to have Skaven, well, you know, they're the luckier ones. And it's a bit like with Forge World and stuff like that. If you can afford a Titan, chances are that you're going to be able to do very well in games where you can take that Titan. But not everybody can take a Titan, so that's the limiting factor there. So
the Rust Belt Blacksmiths have got an interesting idea. I'm not sure I fully understand it. We'd like to see a system where you can buy it both into a faction with their own cards, or cars, but the Universals or an Allegiance deck, Order, Chaos, etc. I quite like that. They haven't really done that, have they? But that would be that would be an interesting way. It's a bit like the Champions game.
I suspect the balancing of that would be almost impossible. I feel maybe. I mean,
it would be nice. Sorry.
Go on.
It would be nice to have like maybe some extra objectives that were kind of just restricted to certain types of warband. I mean, I think you're right. It would be difficult. It's just thematically quite interesting. I'm not sure they'll ever do it.
Yeah. Mr. Lenny Winks says, would limiting Grimwatch to 0 restricted cards help with their power? Possibly. They wouldn't be able to take quite a few nice objectives then. It would force them to really have to take some suboptimal cards. Maybe something like that would help.
Yeah, but everybody seems to think that the Grimwatch aren't really the best anyway, even though they keep winning.
Yeah. Not sure what they base that fact on.
The cultured opinion is that the Thorns are best.
Oh yeah, I mean they have won so many more tournaments.
Yeah.
This is kind of a bit like a I see no ships kind of scenario.
But I know it's just everybody always says, "Oh, the Thorns are more consistent."
Well, before the Grand Clash results and the LVO and all that, we both said that we thought the Thorns would need to be nerfed in some way, and that Varklav's push ability needed to be.
Well, I think that's why they think it's better. But yeah, Grimwatch have piloted to victories across the way.
Yeah, they don't seem to have a problem. So yeah. We're all going to be surprised when GW reset Warhammer Underworlds and start Season 1 of the Old World. They did that. Robin would squeal like a schoolgirl.
Bretonian. Well, I'm not sure Bretonians would work. You can't really have horses, but maybe you can.
Well, they could be on foot, couldn't they? Maybe.
Yeah, but they like a good charge.
They got goblins on.
That's true. There's goblins on thingies now. So yeah, that's true.
Why couldn't they really? They could just turn it into like a massive version, and it could have like the battle mat from Battle Masters. Can relive my childhood.
Maybe just like a huge 6x4 table with scenery.
Hey, that'd work. But instead of hexes, we could measure it with rule. Oh, I think we've done this. Ed says he loves wireless headphones, managing to spend a penny without interrupting the live show. Thanks, Ed.
I thought that was spam for a minute. I thought, who's spam? Who's spam? Oh no, it's Ed.
Thanks, Ed. I'm glad to know that you're.
Have we got any more questions, Pete, before Ed tells us anything else?
Yeah, let's crash on. More questions we need.
And Ed Pank is in the house as well. Hi, Ed Pank.
Hello. What else have we got? Carl Beachy says, should Thunderix toxic gases work on Wormspat and other flavour rules? I don't think that they should work on Wormspat. I think Wormspat should be able to walk in there and get healed. Just walking go.
If they stand on any objective, nobody else can hold it. That'll be a good.
Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I did think they were going to do something like give the worm spat an innate ability, like for an action they could make an objective a lethal hex.
yeah.
So instead of it being a ploy card,
Instead of desecrate, it would be defecate.
but yeah, something like that would be
Yeah,
better and would make them more meta shifting, I feel, than what they currently are, which kind of feels like a bit of a bad joke. If you had that ability that you could just get onto objectives and destroy them, it means your opponent would have to suddenly work a lot harder to keep you off of those objectives. They'd have to maybe think about what's the word I'm trying to think of? They would have to change their game plan, so it wouldn't just be a case of run around you and go after the other objectives. They'd have to actually try and do something to stop you getting on them in the first place, because if you can get on them, then you could do that kind of thing and just wipe out all the objectives on the board. And where would Grimwatch be without any objectives?
yeah. And then bizarrely, they gave them to the other guys who could
Yeah,
do the trap stuff. I
yeah,
don't really, it really doesn't really. I don't know. I don't know the lore so much, but it seemed to fit more with Nurgle.
I found that most of the Nurgle stuff just didn't really seem to keep in with it at all.
Yeah. And
Well,
I'm still upset that there wasn't an objective card called "Come to Papa."
had a few late entries coming. Kyle's turned up, so is Austin. Oh no, sorry, Austin might already be here. It was Undead Pank that just turned up. Hi, Kyle. You just missed us answering your question, I think. So sorry about that. Austin Farr says, for a three-person army, what do you generally find yourself doing in an activation where you don't move or charge? He wants to play Worms Back, but usually plays 4 to 6 man warbands. Well, I'm with you, Austin. I normally play larger warbands, so I struggle to think of what to do with that fourth
Draw,
turn.
normally.
Usually it's draw. Sometimes
There's a lot.
if it's
If you're playing Warhammer Underworlds online, there's quite a lot of drawing going on in that game when you
Yeah.
play, especially when you play the Stormcast.
yeah, that's true. That is very true. I think sometimes maybe if you do go first, you've got a person standing right front. Maybe you put them on guard.
Yeah.
Sometimes, depending on what your play style is, but quite often, yeah, it's just draw a ploy.
Yeah.
On the rare occasion, get rid of an objective if you've got a handful that's got 2 great cards, but the third one's rubbish, maybe.
Yeah. Valentine's asked, what do you think of a new rule, best of 3 games? Who wins the roll off for boards in game 1 should automatically use the roll off in game 2. And then roll off again for game 3. I think that would improve the game. We discussed this a long time ago.
Yeah.
And lots of people, and I know John Wynne Reese was one of them, said, "Oh no, that would be terrible." But I don't really see why it would be terrible. To me, it seems fairer because actually, if you're playing Grimwatch or whatever, it forces you to have to play in a different way because you're going to be one way at one game, you're going to be chasing objectives, and I just feel like you could be lucky. I mean, you could be unlucky and lose both, but you could be lucky and win the orientation that you want both times. And
Yeah.
that gives you a massive advantage.
It does.
I know when I was playing Gits, more when Keep Guessing was still around. If I won the roll off, it was much easier for me to win than if I lost it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think we've said this before, and I still think that they should have it so that whoever wins the first round, whatever they pick, the opposite happens in the second round without a roll off. And if you get to a third round, you roll off again. But yeah, I think that should be the case because it is a massive advantage because you can build your deck to utilise what the boards are doing, and if you get that choice every time, then your opponent's in a lot of trouble. Mark Reynolds says Worms have inspired first round in 5 out of 5 games so far for him. Max save wounds in the game has been 5. I think that puts you as a massive outlier, Mark. You are the end of that bell curve because I don't think I think out of the 5 games I played at the weekend, I think I inspired once.
Right.
And I don't remember saving any wounds really. Maybe 1 out of 5
That's
games.
just your dice rolls.
Well, there is
I would
that.
just will say one thing about Wormspat, which struck me as interesting. We've never had so many people in these live chats or any conversation we have saying, "I really want to make this X Warband work.
Yeah.
How can I make them work? I love them and I want them to do well and I want them to be good." And whether that's just because these are rubbish and that's why it's come up, or whether it actually the challenge of making this warband good and the look and feel, not the feel, but the look of the miniatures, it's just everybody wants Wormspat to be great, which is really interesting because people don't talk about Grimwatch in such a fond way, and is that just because they just work? There's no actual, no disrespect to people who play them and do well with them, but they essentially just work, and you don't have to. There's no challenge in creating meta-defining deck, if you like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I can't remember who I was talking to. Someone said at some point that they think that the Nurgle cards were crap because we waited so long for it. Might have been Matt who said this. Because everybody was so pumped and so hyped waiting for Nurgle for so long, they didn't really need to try and make the cards any good because they knew we'd all buy them anyway.
Yeah.
They just feel a bit like that because, like you say, so many people are basically saying they're on the Facebook groups, they're on our groups, they're on our forums, and they're everywhere saying, "What the crap can I do to make these guys good?" And I'm glad I'm seeing it because it means it's not just me, but it really does seem like a lot of people. And we got asked several times, "What can you do to make a good Nurgle deck? What can we tweak them? How can we do that?" And I'm at a loss. I think there are people out there who've played a lot more games than me who are also sitting there going, "I have no idea."
So Muzza feels the same about Godsworn. Me too. I'd love Godsworn to be good again.
Yeah.
And I'd love to make it work, but every time I look at it, I can't work it out.
I feel like in both seasons they've released the best warbands too near the start. I feel at the moment anyway.
Yeah.
And just like with Eyes of the Nine, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait for John to win and see what he did. That's pretty much going to be my strategy as well. Although Rippers have been out a little while now, and they haven't won anything major either.
No, I think aggro is still not in a great place.
Yeah, I feel the same.
And the part of the problem for that is that I think whatever you do, Curse Breakers can do it better. Even if you boost aggro, that just fits into their spell casting aggro.
Yep.
So I think it's good. Wherever you move the goalposts, Curse Breakers
that comes back to that theory that I had, which is Curse Breakers break that pattern of a warband build where you have a caster and a leader and then other fighters, and they have different things. They have 3 casters, and that breaks the pattern. Like Mollog, we had Mollog, and that was one fighter who was massive and could charge twice, and that broke the pattern because nobody else could do that. And they do that, and then it makes it that much harder to balance the games because you're putting this external faction specific thing in place which stops which gives that warband a difference. I'm not explaining this very well, but ages ago back in Night Vault, somebody asked a thing about what we thought about the warbands that come out, because Thundrix were quite different when they first came out, and we said back then that we would hate to see a warband with a ability come out that broke the meta so much they had to ban the warband. But it almost feels like that with Curse Breakers, because they've got this 3 caster setup which breaks the balance too much, that if you're going to go for a casting warband, you would always go Curse Breaker. There's no reason why you go anyone else.
Yeah, there isn't. If you're going to play Magic, you've got to play Curse Breaker really, or rather, if you don't play Curse Breaker, you're not playing the optimal choice.
Yeah,
which is a shame. I mean, they've kind of almost essentially done everything they can do to nerf Mollog, haven't they? They keep, all the various builds are going to crop up. They restrict the card so you can't do it.
Yeah.
Matt says he doesn't know why, but if he was attacked by you, well, I think it's because you play Curse Breakers. I forgot, of course, although Curse Breakers, of course, although they did get to the final of the Grand Clash, they haven't won.
They did, yeah.
I think for a while.
They haven't, but at the same time, I think that's just because Grimwatch are just that much easier to pilot, that you can't go wrong really with Grimwatch very easily, whereas you have to roll dice to get the Stormcast to do what you want. And if their spells don't work and stuff like that, then they're SOL, whereas Grimwatch is like, I'm not going to attack you most times, so I don't really care, I'm just going to go running on objectives.
Yeah, although there's upgrades to mitigate a lot of those spell rolls as well, aren't there? Not so much Stormfire shooting things, but getting off some spells with your innate, once you've got your innate channels. Yeah,
Dave Wu says that the Lost Page spell with the attack action scares, since it lets you have a backup zapper if Stormside dies. Yeah, it does give you another range. I think that's that dual Stormside build, is it?
Yeah, that's that problem with having having multiple wizards.
Because nobody else can do that.
No.
Curse Breakers are balanced and fair and need no changing.
Mark says, by the way, Lucky Escape is amazing. Excuse me, he didn't sneeze in the middle of it. Lucky Escape is amazing. The look on your opponent's face can almost find a place in any deck.
Which one's Lucky Escape? Is that the one damage one?
Yeah, I did have that in my deck. I think I've dropped it now.
I think you played it against me Or
Did
maybe
I?
it was at the tournament actually. Someone played it against me.
Okay.
Yeah, it can be a bit annoying sometimes.
Yeah, I can see it can be really useful. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and someone else has said once the innate channel upgrades come up, the dice kind of don't matter. That it is almost like that. You find yourself at the point where you're just saying, "I'm just rolling the dice to make sure I don't get 3 crits, because
Mm.
even if I get 2 crits, I can turn one into a lightning or that kind of thing." And it does
Yeah.
feel a bit like that. I did Pancast earlier. Has anyone tried to play Nurgle really aggressive? I haven't yet, and that's one thing I want to try. I still don't think that Nurgle aggressive are going to be that good either. But maybe um, their ability to take some more damage might come through at that point if you can
As long
roll
as you
any
can
shields.
inspire, you
Yeah,
can get them inspired early, and you might be all right. But the 3-person warbands have a problem with being aggressive because they, you can, to an extent, you can avoid them. You have got a bit of reach with the worm spat, haven't you? You've got
a little
one
bit.
fight.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but
Fecula's got a range 3 attack, and what's his name? Sexy Puss has got a 2 range attack, but that's it.
yeah,
There's only 3 of them, so if you start to move across the board to take people out, especially like Grimwatch, you run past them and run around the back, then what do? I think you then have to start putting objectives into your opponent's half and try and cram them all in the other side of the board.
Matt
Somebody,
dies on
go
big
on.
damage. He says,
Somebody mentioned further up, it's like, will the game get to a point where you can tell if you've won or not by who places the first objective down? You can almost start to get into that meta of the game of where you put objectives to block your opponent, stuff like that. And VJ Moss is asking Sexypus, Septimus, Sexypus,
Sexypus. Yeah.
Sexypus. Because there's Frogspawn the ogre, Sexypus. We don't like using the real names; it gets a bit silly.
Septimus Prime.
Ataris says Nurgle are great against aggro warbands, and most of the warbands in the game, but they will struggle against top tier warbands. I don't think they're that good against aggro warbands, to be honest. There was an article out about the stats of how much their ability stops damage incoming, and it's really low. The average is
Was
really
that the call it shows? But I haven't read that
yes,
yet.
yeah. I mean, you look at the odds, and it's actually tiny. You realise
Right.
it's almost not worth bothering about. And the idea that I'd had of swapping out like the siphon card, so give Fecula a dodge characteristic which goes up to 2 and 3 dodge. It means that your chances of reducing the damage go up a little, but your chances of taking more damage go up a lot because you're only rolling dodges rather than shields, so more attacks are going to get
Right.
through. I can't remember what the odds were, Taurus, when I read it. You should go find the article, read it. It makes for some quite depressing reading. But they did a lot of number crunching on that one, so would have been nice. Would it have been too much to ask for a 2 damage on Fecula spell? Maybe that's what they needed or something like that. So yeah, I'm not sure, but it was a bit of a depressive read when I read it and thought, oh, I thought it was going to be the thing that was going to make them really uber tough, and sometimes it does really stuff your opponent up when they go in with a 4 damage attack and you knock it down to 3 and it's not quite enough to kill them. But there's so many other lethal hexes and 1 damage cards and pit traps and things like that bouncing around that there's always something you can keep, you saved one of the damage, I'm just going to play pit trap now, or I'll just knock you into the lethal hex or things like that to make it less easy.
Yeah, Atari says he was playing Hrothgar or Frogspawn in a tournament recently, and one Sexypus got inspired and Champion's Fortitude or Survival Instincts, and he couldn't kill him. Yeah, I mean
If you can
they
get
are
that,
tough to kill in that respect, but I guess Hrothgar himself is pretty tough to kill as well.
yeah, he can be really tough. Someone said in the Warhammer TV podcast, the Underlords decides that aggro is going to come back. Yeah, he mentioned there was on Facebook as well. I can't remember his name. Nick Bainton said that he'd been speaking to. I can never remember the designer's name. Dave. And it basically said that David said that things will not remain as they are. So we can only wait and see how that goes.
Going to say that though.
Well, yeah, obviously. They're not gonna they're gonna be sitting at the back going, crap, it's all objectives for standing on objectives. What are we gonna do? Oh God. No, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Everything will
the,
change.
the All Brutes Warband are going to change the game. Well, that'd be nice. I mean, they're definitely going to be tough, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're going to do some killing, but they've got to change the game without like completely sidelining the Worms battle or somebody. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew's put here in a couple of weeks will convince me that Nurgle are pretty decent. I don't care. I'm going to be playing Nurgle till the day I die, and I might never win a game with them, and I'm okay with that. Technically, I've won 3 games with them, but I don't care if I never win a game. They're my Nurgle, and I love them, and I'll always play them.
I've got the new White Dwarf, which is interesting.
Ooh.
There's 2 articles for Underworlds on the new White Dwarf. Dave Bracken's written one,
Yeah.
About 6 months ago, about the meta.
Yeah.
She's just talking about what the meta is,
Meta.
the definition of the meta, rather than actually what it is, if you see what I mean.
Yep.
And then there's a whole article on the tactics of the 2 new warbands, written by Dave Sanders. And the Hrothgorn one seems like, yeah, okay, they've got some definite ideas of what they want to do. But the Nurgle one, it's kind of like, oh, well, you could do this and you could maybe do that. And it would even suggest possibly running the 2 supremacy style objectives, not necessarily both together. But and it does say just be careful because you've only got 3 fighters.
That's a really stupid suggestion, frankly. Yeah. That's just a dumb suggestion. Take a 3-person warband and try and run supremacy. Who does that?
They are a bit. The article, even the Hrothgorn one's a little bit like that. It's kind of like, well, it's just, you can run all these super offensive cards, but then you could also run the objective destruction cards. Like, well, you can't reliably do both.
No,
because you as we know, if you rely on one card to do one thing, you're probably going to come unstuck. It's quite interesting. But there's a couple of cards in there. There's one card I completely forgotten, which is basically, I can't remember exactly what it does. It's a ploy, and it was in the Ripper's box, it turns out. Not Overkill. And you get a glory if you, maybe it was Overkill. You get a glory. It was like the old objective where if you Crushing Force, which is now Warhammer Underworlds online, you get a glory if you take somebody out with more damage than was required. I completely missed that card. It passed me by. But I wonder whether to stick it in old Hrothgorn's deck because he packs some damage.
Yeah. See, Jason said the Nurgle guys need more stuff that puts them on the guard. The problem is, when that stuff comes out, it's available to everyone. So you can get that stuff. You'll be able to put it on other warbands, like Despoilers even, who benefit even more from being on guard because they roll dodges normally, so then they'll go onto shields. But there's more of them, and then you give them all the weapon upgrades and stuff like that. So, yeah. And Atara says further up that you could probably easily win glass in local tournaments with Nurgle, but grand clashes and skirmishes will be tough. And that's me. I mean, you're probably going to win local tournaments easier because you're going to be playing against people who don't have all the cards available, which is what we're saying. We talked about near the beginning of this article in my experience at a local tournament. Yeah, I mean, I won 3 out of my 5 games when I played with Nurgle, and I did not deserve to win a single one of them with that deck. It was horse manure. And
John Inshaw, I don't think he's ever commented before. Hello,
John.
Says he thinks that a lot of collectible card games like Underworlds, the community ends up knowing far more about the game and its performance than the designers. That's definitely true.
Yeah,
that's definitely true. I know anecdotally at least, that Games Workshop were using Well of Power to get the stats they needed to talk about the game.
They were even saying, "Oh, you want to find out this about the Grand Clash? Go and check that other website out because we didn't do any of it." Come on. I mean, that is always going to be the way. These kind of things are always you're going to have a hardcore group of people who are going to spend ages analysing the numbers, and we have in this community a really great group of people who've done some massive mega work on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you'd like to think that the people bringing the game out have got better ideas than the people who pick the game up and have played it for 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, of course, but they're working on what's coming next, of course. So their focus isn't in the same place as our focus. If you sort of mean, they're thinking about what I'm going to do, and obviously they need to know roughly what the meta is, but they don't need to know. And they've already had 10, 15, 20, 50 people at the most working on playtesting the game, and we will suddenly hit. You've got data of thousands of people to work on and see what's good and come up with new new combinations,
Yep.
a bit like or Earthing Stone's suggestion that Andrew's commented on. I'm still not convinced by it. I think it's great in principle, but the thought of the chances of it coming out all at the right time seems to be unlikely.
Yeah, you need it early, and then you need to have a spare starting hex on the other side of the board to put your blue horror on and stuff. It might work. It might cause
Yeah,
your
you
opponent.
need the glory early as well.
Yeah, there is that. There is
Little,
that.
yeah.
Valentin said, "Don't they design the warbands and cards 1 year before they're released?" I think they do run it like 18 months ahead.
Yeah.
They work on. They get the models first from the sculpting team, which still seems mad to me. But they get the models first, then they work on character cards, and then they work on all the ploys and stuff like that, and try and come up with it all there. So, yeah, they are working. I mean, theoretically, that means season 4's probably already done. Going to the printers right now.
What's it going to be called?
Ooh, yeah.
No. Horseradish.
Horseradish. What comments we've got in here? There are too many cards to remember. That is one of the problem with this game. I'm just looking at a card carry box at the minute, which I think holds about 3,000 cards, because I don't want to have to keep buying more archive storage containers. So let's have a look at a few more questions. What else we got? Could you tell us more about the tournament we attend? No, the tournament I attended the weekend. Done that one. Malachi wants to know if we had any good anecdotes from our 20 years of D&D gaming. I lay claim to, in 20 years of D&D gaming, we have lost one character. In that entire time, one PC has died, and he was mine. I think when he died, he only had one hand, he had a hook, and I still insisted on throwing explosives around. And we were in a house fighting dark elves or something like that, I seem to remember. And I went to throw a grenade, and I sort of critically fumbled it or something like that, because this was Warhammer, not D&D back then. And Robin scribbled on a little note and slid it across the table to me quite innocuously, saying, "Lose one fate point." And I wrote on the note and sent it back, said, "I don't have any." Everyone was like, "Oh, well, you're dead then." By the way, everybody, the house has just exploded. Oh, that was great. And everyone's like, "I guess you're going to have to roll up a new character now then."
VJ said the idea that Games Workshop promote that the minis get designed first was finally let slip a little in the recent Storm / Foxcast.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he says they admitted that the background team, mini design team, and rules writers worked together a lot more than previously indicated. Interesting.
Lying bastards. But I mean, we know that they work quite heavily with models to hand when they're doing stuff, and yeah, they've definitely got a design team that is working on a lot of the aesthetics of the things, especially when they're designing or redesigning warbands in AOS. They have a lot of people all working at the same time doing models and artwork and stories. And
they must have a strategy as well, mustn't they? They must go, this is where we're going. They must have like a 5-year plan. This is where we're going.
You'd hope.
Setting, and we're going to do these things. So they must therefore know, well, this year we're bringing out new elves, so we might want to put some new elf type, like the Cypher Lords in Warcry. They obviously foreshadowed the new high elves that are out.
You definitely hope you did a 5-week plan, Andrew says. I do wonder how much they had to start with, because when they released the first game, Shadespire, the guy, I can never remember his name, I always forget, Dave Bracken, wasn't a games designer when they got him to sort of head up the creation of that game. And you think, how much did they think that this game had legs when they did it, or were they like, let's do this?
Dave, to be fair, Dave headed up the creation of it, but John was brought in from, I can't remember what his job was, but yeah, he was trying to do game design.
Right. But I mean, was it like a let's see how this goes, and if it seems to have legs, then we'll start working on a season 2, or did they just start saying, right, let's have a 5-season plan here, or even a 2-season plan? That kind of thing would be interesting to know. I don't think we'll ever find out though.
Davis is having a 5-year plan. They wouldn't look at cell volume. Well, okay, maybe it's not a hard and fast concrete plan, but they must have an idea of where they want to go. But Andrew thinks it's a 5-week plan. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think they had much more, but yeah. Philip says, what kind of GM did we have? He was a dashing,
wonderful,
debonair, handsome, rugged, Robin-y kind of DM.
Basically really nice, and you have to really be quite dim to let me kill you. or persistent.
I was persistently suicidal.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
think,
don't very often kill characters. The threat needs to be there,
yeah.
but I don't very often do it.
And generally, we're spending too long arguing about which door to open or which way upstream or downstream we should go to ever get into that much peril that we might die.
Mm. Yeah, that is
I
true.
think we worked out it took us, I think, 90 minutes once to decide whether we should go upstream or downstream, and I don't think it actually mattered
Very
to the
important
adventure at all.
discussion.
It was,
But
yeah.
we definitely just suffer. I do when role playing. I don't want to make the wrong decision,
Yeah.
which is like same as when I play Underworld. And there was an interesting question up here. I've lost it now. Oh, it was from John again. Any advice for getting started with the online version? The decks seem very, very limited at the moment. They are very limited at the moment. I think there's new cards coming,
Yeah.
but I would just. I think VJ said underneath, play them as is and enjoy the game instead of the meta. Yeah, just tinker around with it. One of the nice things about there not being very many cards and not much choices is actually cards that you would never have taken in a million years in the original game are actually quite useful. And the glory total is so small that actually the games don't run away from you. You
Yeah.
can always pull them back if you get
You
pull
don't
the
get
right cards. Or
you don't get to the end of round 2 and your opponent's got 50 glory already, and you're sitting there on 3 going, well, I guess we know who's winning this.
I think every game I play pretty much has come down to the last sort of turn.
The biggest win I think I've had has been like 17 to 12 or something like that.
What?
Yeah, I think
Wow.
I got like all the keys on,
Okay.
and
Wow.
I'd been really lucky with placement and stuff like that. So yeah,
Keys are strong because there's very few ways of getting you off objectives, aren't there?
yeah,
Once you're there, keys are strong.
yeah. Smash people off of them. That's about what you've got. So
If you're not doing an in-character voice when you play D&D, you're not doing it right. Yeah, you haven't been in our group.
we although during I think we are what's the word I'm trying to think of? We're a bit more staid in our D&D sessions, and the minute someone actually tries to role play, we mostly roundly mock them.
Yeah, that's true.
So the minute
Yeah.
someone tries to put on a voice, everyone's like, "Are you really going to do that? Because that's really annoying."
Yeah.
And then we quickly stop that. And
The problem is if you do a voice, you've then got to do it forever.
well, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that, but I suspect that other people like Dave would probably kill me.
Yeah, yeah, and the other terrible thing our group does is that any name. I don't know how many other D&D groups do this, but any name of any NPC or indeed character in the game immediately is reduced to some sort of innuendo, and within like two. Well, a bit like Sexy Puss, really. I mean, we just do
It
it.
doesn't help when one of our
Can't
players
take the game seriously anymore.
doesn't help when one of our players calls one of his characters Suckmatet. What did you
Yeah.
think we were going to turn that into?
Well, I know, but you just don't notice it, do you? It's like when you know.
But the
Yeah,
fact that
when
we're all
everyone-
massive children who are,
Yes, that's basic.
completely.
That's basic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let's move on.
Yes.
We're showing ourselves as juvenile as we are.
But we are. That's why most people watch us. To the person who was asking about the online version, I actually think I'm almost more excited to see what they're going to bring out next for the online version, because it's shrunk back down to such a small set of cards.
Mm.
Anything new that comes out is going to be massive. Whereas now we're in this massive pool of cards and so many warbands. It's like, oh, they brought out another warband. Quick look at them. No, they're not really any better than Avalon. They're not really any better than the other warbands I can already pick from. So I'll pick a few of the ploys and power cards out that are going to be better in my current decks, and I'm probably not going to bother with them, kind of thing. I was really excited for Nurgle, but as it turns out, they're a bit of a damp squib. But back in the online version, you're like, when Skaven come out, that's going to be massive because we've got other 4 right now. So I actually really enjoyed the online version, even though I don't get to play as much as I'd like. The speed that you can play the game and the tightness of the games right now, because there's so few things available, actually almost makes it more fun for me.
Yeah, and yes, I do see that, and especially wondering what new cards are going to come in, because you've got this slight anticipation now as you actually know what some of the cards could be, so you kind of know what might arrive, and that kind of it almost makes it more exciting, because you've clearly got no idea we've got no idea what's coming in Beastgrave, and like you say, there's already 800 cards out or something, and you know that nothing's going to be meta defining. You hope nothing's going to be meta defining, because although it would be really nice to see an amazing card. That amazing card, and it'll be in everybody's deck, and it'll be restricted by the end of next week.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely excited to see where where they're going to go. Yeah, the Skaven and the Fast Rider. Somebody just said we're going to be hype.
Yeah.
I assume that means good or something.
John Mackin said, "Do we reckon they'll follow the release schedule of the originals?" Well, they probably can't because McGaw's already out and he didn't come out till the third round.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they are going to bother following the same thing.
No, well, they said they weren't. You know, something you said recently that it's because the Reavers got so many reactions.
Yes.
That they didn't do them first.
Yeah, Tom, who I played at the weekend, he said that he was at the last, it might have been the UKGE last year or whatever, when they were there. And he asked them why they hadn't done Reavers, and they said they hadn't done Reavers because they had so many different reaction cards in their Warband specific. It was a real pain to actually try and get them done, so they worked on the other Warbands that were easier to start with. And then they were going to come back to Reavers. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to Reavers and Skaven.
Yeah, Chosen Axes, let's play those in a competitive manner again.
Yeah.
They're very hard to do anything with. But Fuel animated, I think would be pretty cool.
That could be pretty awesome. This psycho dwarf walking around. They have to be careful how they build the model, though.
How many stiff breezes in the thing? It could be embarrassing.
David Christie says Worm Spat are next in the digital version, hence why they're so crap. That is Valentine. Yeah, the good thing about being online is that you don't need to be consistently checking whether rules are being adhered to. It remembers your cards for you. You don't forget to pick up glory. If you've got a reaction, it pops up on screen. It's a nice idiot-friendly version, which is great for me. It's like, you've got this card. Do you want to play this card now?
It says idiot-friendly, but the other day I wanted to use Total Defense and I pressed pass instead.
Well, you can only help someone so much.
Yeah. It's because there was a button. You know what it's like? Do you want to do this? Yes, I do. But actually, the question was, do you want to not do it?
Do you not want to not do the not thing? What? Which one do I hit? Well, you can lead a horse to water, but if he's still an idiot, you can't do anything about that. So what other question we got? We missed a whole tranche of loads of other people saying stuff, which is all quite interesting. What other questions have we got? Another good thing about playing the online version is obviously you can play against anyone, anywhere, anytime. You can agree with a friend, let's meet up online, and we can, here's the code, so we just got to meet up, we can play each other straight away. And it's great for us because we've got 70 Patreon supporters now, and they are all able to join our online tournament. So that's great, and we've been doing that. And I don't know if people are picking up these diddly ding noises that are coming up on my machine. Apologies if you guys are. But it helps bring a wider community together in that respect, because a lot of people like us can't get out to play in tournaments and things like that. So it enables us to go out and hopefully we can bring that into the channel a lot more. We can go and play people online.
It's definitely brought our little Patreon community together more.
Yes.
More people are on our Discord, and there's a lot more chatting behind the scenes. Lots of really great painting stuff going on there. Our Patreon supporters are amazing painters.
They are.
Not just Milky, who's painted us some stuff, sort of with his commission painting service, but so many of them would just do it for fun. Just put me to shame, really. But so well done, everybody. I'm very jealous of all your amazing talents on our Discord.
Don't worry, VJ apologises for his participation in the online version. There is no time limit on it. You know us, we are not sticklers in any way. We will be doing that. We'll play until everyone's played their games. There's no rush on that one. Discord is Patreon only. We have a Patreon only Discord, Philip. I'm not sure if you're one of our Patreoners. If you are, do check out. There is a pinned message which has a link to the Discord in it, and also a discount for versatile terrain.
Oh yes.
Speaking of versatile terrain, our giveaway is still underway. Please do check it out if you haven't already. Do leave a comment to register. We will be closing entry on Sunday night, and we will be doing a draw live next Tuesday for the winner. Live on the channel. What could possibly go wrong with that?
You're going to have like a massive hat?
No.
Oh.
But I found I sort of cheated a little bit, but I saw that yesterday Blackjack he found an online raffle thing where you can input all the names and it'll sort of live randomly pick one out for you. So I've stolen that idea. Sorry about that, Andy, and we'll be using that. Does the nameplate say Sexypus? It doesn't. I decided to keep those normal, although the one that's a trap for Hrothgorn does say it's a trap. So We couldn't work out whether we just put Itza or whether we actually put Itza Trap.
I wanted to put Itza, yeah.
Valentin asks, how do we bring new people into the game? He's tried, but it's so overwhelming for them with so many cards. Well, in some ways, the online version's great for that because there's so many less cards.
Although I was trying to explain to a friend of mine who's one of our role players, a role play group, and it's actually quite bonkers when you try and explain how the game works.
Was that not Stew?
Yeah, it was not Stew. Yeah, it's like, so you could do this and then you could do that, but then you can't do this now because you've only got 4 activations, and you can charge, but you can attack, but you can move and attack, but you can't charge and then attack again. Well, maybe I'm just not very good at explaining things. But I was trying to do it quickly. When you want to show something how good it is to somebody, you try to do it really quickly, and of course it doesn't work. You do that.
Do use the simpler warband. So use your Oryx and your Magor or your Severin, that kind of thing, with less special rules.
Cards, probably.
Faction cards, or even start with not even faction cards. Just play the warbands for a couple of rounds so they can see how the mechanics work, that kind of thing, and then bring the cards in.
We should do nameplates with their alternative names for sale on Etsy/Teespring. That's a handy segue, thank you, VJ, because I have updated Teespring with a few new T-shirts. They have got all the old warbands all on there. Some of them do have the names, like Pete's wearing right now. But I haven't updated the new ones. But I shall put one on there with Sexy Puss on it.
I will be wearing that at the next Grand Clash, even if I'm not playing Nurgle.
And sorry, what was I going to say?
Teespring.
So Teespring's up to, and again, patrons, and I haven't set this up, but patrons will get a discount off Teespring as well.
Awesome.
But there's now, with our new Fiery logo, there's new Fiery logo T-shirts and hoodies and mugs. And basically, we can do whatever you want. So if you do want a Warband T-shirt with Sexy Puss on it or something like that, let us know, and we can set that up and do it. I'm happy to do that. It's getting the impetus to do it.
Yes, and mention that as well. The dice trays are available.
Dice trays, yes.
We need to post the link up more everywhere for that one, Robin, I feel. But the dice trays are also available if anybody's looking for a new dice tray. And if any of you guys see any of the T-shirts, you want to buy them, please do. Also, if you would rather, if there is a T-shirt that isn't on there, and hopefully the link should be in the description of this stream, do feel free. I think there is an old school Ready for Action T-shirt on there.
There is an old school Ready for Action T-shirt. There is a Skaven T-shirt, VJ, and I was really disappointed because I took the Gits to the Grand Clash and I'd forgotten I'd done a green one with white warband things and then red.
Red cap had a red R and stuff.
Red cap for an red R, and I'd forgotten I'd done that, and I didn't take it to the Grand Clash.
Yep.
So yes, there is Ready for Action. It's kind of got a rock font. I think Ed owns the Ready for Action.
Ed might actually, yeah. And if, like I say, if you do see something that isn't on there, stick a comment below, message us via YouTube or on Facebook, say, hey, do a T-shirt like this for me. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen because it doesn't cost us anything to design them.
Apart from our time and immense talent, obviously.
Yeah. So it's almost a negative value. But we can design them.
For the swag. I will just try and find that link for the swag.
Yeah. Link for swag. Well, I think there's a link in the description for Teespring.
Oh, is there?
But not for the dice tray, so we need a link for the dice tray.
Okay.
But in the description of this video, there's a link to Teespring.
Okay.
And someone else asked a question, I'm sure. I think I missed it. Where was it? Where did we get our objective markers from? Well, John, I'm afraid... Well, I'm not afraid. I'm very happy to say that one of our Patreon supporters made them for us, but they were a one-off. They weren't even requested. We got a little mystery pass and we opened it. We're like, these are awesome! But unfortunately, they're not for general sale, I'm afraid.
No.
If you are interested, do let us know. We might be able to put you in touch with the man who made them, and he might be able to make you some, but I can't say they're going to be identical.
No, they're all...
They're one-offs. One of a kind. And we were exceptionally lucky to have them. So we've kind of gone off the track a bit with tournaments. But I kind of feel like we have reached a natural end to the evening. I mean, we've still got 41 of you beautiful, crazy people watching. And frankly, I could sit on here all night and talk about this kind of stuff. But I think we're going to have to probably call it there very soon.
This way, let's come through quickly. I can't find my dice tray.
We will post it in the text below after this has finished. It will be on Facebook, so if you're not following us on there, do check us out on Facebook. Do obviously follow us on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying the stream, and do keep watching. We will post up links on YouTube and stuff to make these things available to all you guys, because everything you buy obviously supports us a little bit, and frankly, we just think it's awesome that you do it.
Absolutely.
So it is worth just reminding anyone who's still watching, come September there will be an Agent Con. We are going to try and make it a very sociable, very friendly affair, lots of chatting, getting to knowing your opponents, and less craziness. There might be glass, we don't know. We're waiting to hear whether we can actually get an official tournament pack for it. The new Warbands might be out by then, so that could be a whole new level of craziness going on there. And 43 watching, only 15 thumbs up. I know, VJ. I know. It's a shame. It's a crying shame, is what it is. But you know what? I still don't mind, because we've had 40. We've topped the 50s again with people watching. Woo. And it's awesome.
Well, the thumbs are coming in now.
Oh, here come the thumbs. Glass full of beer, hopefully. Well, I don't actually know if they do. Do they sell alcohol at the Tabletop Gaming Live, Robin?
I feel like they do.
Oh, there you go.
There's definitely a bar there, but that might be outside of the arena. I can't remember if you can have alcohol inside or not.
So it's worth pointing out, to come to our tournament, it's a $5, I think. But you have to pay to actually get into.
So you have to pay for Tabletop Gaming Live, which I think is £16 for an adult. And that gives you the whole day. You can have a weekend ticket as well, but that gives you a whole day, and you can go and do all the other stuff that you can do. But then our little tournament is £5, and I think we just chuck that on there so that they can run the ticketing for it, so we know how many people are coming, because we need to know what sort of event we're going to run, because if there's only 10 of you coming, it's going to be quite different to if 100 of you turn up.
David Christie saying goodbye. See you, David. Thanks for tuning in. Do come back next week for the giveaway draw.
The live draw. And VJ says to give away 100 watches like Andy did. Well, we could maybe do that.
This is the problem. We're very bad at self-promoting. We're terrible at it.
Is that a generational thing, or just a
British thing? Andy's our age and he's British.
Maybe that's true. He's Geordie though, isn't he?
Maybe it's a southern thing. Maybe it's a white 30s to 40s male southern thing.
I don't know what it is, but I mean, I'm just terrible on social media. Full stop. I just feel like people won't be interested in what I'm putting on there.
I have the problem with it's like tweeting stuff and putting stuff on Instagram and things like that, and I'm like, I don't. Why would anyone want to see this? And then every now and then we'll post something on it, and loads of people are like, oh, this is brilliant, I love this. And you're like, wow, people want to see this.
Any chances of some terminals of Underworld online set up at your tournament to some of us over people can remote in? That would be cool.
What's that? I'm lost on that one.
VJ suggested that we have Underworld online terminals, and it's a really cool idea. But it might be for like maybe.
Oh, I see. At the tournament. Oh, I see.
Yeah,
yes.
maybe next year. It might be next year, because I'm not sure that I want to try and run that and the thing.
Yeah, well, plus we'd need to find machines, and we need internet access and all that kind of stuff. We'd love to, but I suspect that if we can just manage to get this going, it'll be a small miracle in itself this time.
I'm going to put us in touch with our social media team. I don't know who that is. Could be great.
Yeah, we could do with somebody to promote us on social media. I feel like we could do more, but we're a bit rubbish on that front.
It's funny though, because I feel like everybody who this is where this kind of promotion comes in. I feel like that everybody who plays Underworlds knows us, and if you don't already play Underworlds, then you're not going to be interested in us. But
there is that.
So that's kind of where.
But I suspect there's a lot of people out there. Like I was at the weekend at the tournament I went to. I played people who played Underworlds, and there was out of the 8 people who were playing there, I don't think most of them knew who we were.
Shocking.
Obviously, Martin was there, one of our patrons. Thank you, Martin. And one of the other guys, Tom, I played against. He said after the game, "Love your channel, by the way." And that, but I think a lot of the other people there didn't even know who we were. I knew we picked up a new follower on YouTube because he went on there and then and followed us. Okay. But yeah, I still think we could possibly do more.
Chances you can make insurance interesting, you can do most things. That is true.
Yeah, well, there is that. But does he actually make insurance interesting though? I work in insurance. I should be able to do this. This should be easy. Ah, Mr. Dan Pinkney. Hello, Mr. Dan Pinkney. I didn't know you were online watching us. Watching us from the shadows, are you? Yeah. So I think we need to do more along that. We need to be
DJ's
more.
hoping to come over next year, come and play with you guys, go up to play something with Andy, and go to Games Workshop. That would be so cool, VJ, if you did that.
That would be pretty cool. Yep. Let us know if you do work that out. We will put
Do
something
let us know in
on.
advance, so we're not on holiday or anything.
Yeah, because we've also got a man has said he might come over at some point, and we might try and organise something then to meet up with him as well. Always lurking.
Man and some games of Warhammer Underworld.
Yeah, yeah. I think we need to do more self promotion. So anything you guys can do to help promote us, and yes, if we hit 100 100 concurrent viewers, we will do an immediate giveaway. What did he do on his? Was it like a limited edition mug? Something
I'll
like
give
that.
away the pants that I'm wearing on the stream. No.
Yeah. We'll give away a
So
individual
this is why I don't
mug.
do self-promotion.
An individual mug, one of a kind. We will design a mug and randomly pick someone.
I love it.
When we hit 100 concurrent viewers. In fact, we will tailor it to whatever warband's their favourite. That's what we're going to do. It says, "Oh my,
Yep.
oh my." Hello, Stu 123. Sorry, you're catching in just as we're about to leave.
We're about to leave, Steve.
Yeah, sorry about that, mate.
Yeah.
So if you are one of
get me to offer you my pants, though. So yeah.
So you may be tuned in.
Win some, you lose some.
Exactly the wrong point. So if you are one of our patrons, do check out Discord. Do go on to Patreon, check that out, and sign up. It's great on there. You can then join in with the tournaments and all the rest of it. Everyone needs to sub to me, Blackjack Legacy and Tabletop Minions. Yes, all of them. Sub all of those. I do feel like in the UK we've got so many different channels doing stuff. If we could sort of unite in some way, a lot like Mini Wargaming have done, we could be the UK Mini Wargaming equivalent. But yes.
An umbrella, yeah, I don't know. That's beyond me.
Do our pants have flaming logos? You want to find out, do you? You want to see? But no, I'm not
they've got to get to 100 to find that out, Pete. They've got to get to 100.
Yeah, you have to wait.
Yeah, we're down to 35. I think we've lost 6 viewers since I've suggested that.
They've all got to throw up.
Yeah.
So I think
when will we see the Eyes versus Nurgle games? Well, Andrew, we haven't recorded them yet, so it's a little way off. We're not recording this week. We've got a special guest in the garage.
Yes.
Yes, our patron Simon, who lives just up the road, is coming down to beat us again, probably. Yeah, so we'll do that, and then the week after, I'm going to bring the Eye of the Nine. Pete's going to bring the Worms back. We'll play a couple of games.
We'll be playing the games with the decks
Andrew's
you've given
deck
us.
versus Andrew's deck.
Yeah, it will be a bit like that. But that's another thing that our patrons at $10 will get. They can pick games. They can help shape the channel. So there you go. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to register if you haven't. Do check out Patreon if you're interested. And if you are on Patreon, do check out Discord as well. We'll keep you updated with what we're doing. We'll try and self-promote a bit more, because once we hit 100 viewers, we will randomly select somebody to get a free mug.
Free mug! Yeah, we're going to send Pete round.
So we shall see you at Sexy Puss Flap. Oh, that's just ended it on a note that I never wanted. Right, guys. So we shall see you soon in the Beastgrave.
Beastgrave.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in. All the rest of it. We'll see you soon. Bye.